Thanks for coming, everybody. We're going to start our afternoon sessions here at the Pitch Hub. I don't want to cut into our time, so I'm going to turn it straight away over to our friend Kay, who's going to give us a briefing on what's going on with the Korea ETS. Thank you so much, Kay. On to you.
Thank you, Matt. Good afternoon. Welcome to my pitch today. My name is Kyunghwa Jeon, and my English nickname is Kay. And I'm working at Ecoeye, one of the most experienced consulting firm in South Korea, and offset developer as well. And I'm a project manager at the offset development team. Today's topic is the eligibility of a foreign offset rule in the Korea ETS. So I'm going to introduce the new eligibility rule of using foreign offset credits in Korean market. And there will be a Q&A section for you guys. And I have prepared some brochures for your information. Please feel free to take them in front of the sofa there. So let's move on. The new rule has been updated on 2nd of May 2018, so it's quite new. And it allows using offset credits from overseas CDM projects directly implemented by Korean domestic entities. Only CERs issued after 1st of June 2016 is eligible to use Korean market. And from the second phase, it is eligible to use. And the second phase has been started on the 1st of January this year, and it lasts for 3 years. So, to use the eligible CRs in the Korea ETS, the Korean domestic entities shall apply to convert the CRs to KOCs, Korean offset credits. So, what is the domestic enterprises? It has been stipulated as 3 categories. The first is a Korean compliance entity, Korea ETS compliance entities. The second one is other world enterprises registered under the Commercial Act in South Korea. And third one is the foreign subsidiaries that are wholly owned by Korean domestic enterprises. And what is the project directly implemented by Korean entity? So the detailed information is introduced in the Appendix 9, and there are 3 big parts in the Appendix 9. The first part is what is the project with eligibility, and the second part is what is the required documents according to the project types, and the last part is the limit of certification. So very firstly, a business entity or implementation entity is defined. The entity must legally own or operate the carbon emission reduction facilities throughout the whole crediting period via private investment. Additionally, the entity has to be a project participant on a PDD or CPADD or designated focal point of the MOC at the first registration of the CDM project. So that's the definition of business entity. And what is a project? A project shall be one of the 4 types, case A to D, and this also be categorized by directly owned or indirectly owned project. So what is the definition of directly owned project? Case A and B. Case A, the ratio of ownership or operation of the domestic entities shall be more than 20%. The example of this case A would be that a domestic enterprise installs an energy efficient facility in the foreign subsidiary and getting CRs from the project and facility. Next, case B is having at least 20% of voting rights as a shareholder in the project. A renewable energy power plant invested by Korean domestic enterprises via a special purpose company would be a good example of this case. And the other two cases is indirectly on the project, case C and D. So case C is the selling or distribution of emission reduction product or technology to unsatisfied majority. And the cost should be more than 20% of the total project cost. In this case, the implementation entity or business entity is end users, and the being PP or FP, the focal point should be the investor, distributor, or seller. A cookstove distribution project is an example of this case. The last case, case D, is exceptional. A project which is co-funded and co-implemented with the Korean central or local government and Korea public institutions or foreign governments is that. So there is an exception for the criterion of the being PP or FP at the first registration point of the CDM project, but country limitations, which are the least developed country registered by designated by UN or low-income economies designated by World Bank at the first registration point of the CDM project. The example of this case could be all the case A to C and or others. Yeah. The second part of the Appendix 9 is regarding required document according to the project type. So I'm going to skip this part as it's quite documentation stuff. And yeah, but there is some detailed information on the brochure there. So if you need the PDF version or something, just let me know. I will send you guys. Last thing I need to introduce is the limit of certification. So the certification of the greenhouse gas emission reduction unit. The application for conversion CERs to KOCs should be made by Korean domestic entities. And the limit of certification is the contribution ratio of domestic enterprise during a monitoring period. So this will be ratio of ownership or operation in case A, and the ratio of stock having the voting rights in the case B, and the ratio of expenses of total expenses in case C or D. In terms of the ratio for the certification, the percentage during a monitoring period is important, not at the first registration point. Yeah, these are all about the new rules actually, and thank you for attention.
Thank you very much, Kay. I think I, at least personally, am very interested in this because I do work in the compliance and carbon market spaces. Before I jump in with some of my questions, is there anything from the audience? No. Okay. So, Kay, you spoke a lot about the requirements, right? And you're here representing your company, which is a offset developer, right? A project management company. So you've talked about the requirements of the law and the ETS, but where do you and where do your company see the opportunities being?
Okay, so actually the foreign offset credits are eligible to use during second phase of Korean ETS. It's just for 3 years. We are not sure what's going on after 2020, so it's really hard to say. You know, we are going to invest a lot of money for CDM project at the moment. So Ecoeye is focusing on to develop a project regarding the case C distribution to households. Yeah, it could be delivered NCRs, and it could be used as the CSR purpose by Korea compliance entities. So yeah, that's our target.
So I think you're right in the. I think everybody's kind of waiting to see, to a certain extent, what happens after 2020 before making any big moves. I know from our perspective, the World Bank, we're trying to help inform the global discussions on what, for example, Article 6 market mechanisms look like. But we'll have to wait and see what actually comes out of those discussions. In the interim, where do you see the demand coming from for the Korean companies participating in the ETS? I mean, are they just going to go out and buy existing CERs, or maybe do they dabble into small investments in projects? Or although we just started, are you picking up on any trends from demand in your marketplace?
Yeah,
what are those trends?
Yeah, actually, there is always a shortage in Korea of offset credits. So the compliance entities are really willing to join the foreign offset project, and they hope to invest. I can say it's a start with a small scale, not that big investment at the moment. But yeah, we have a really good relationship with Korean compliance entities and government, power plant, Samsung, LG, and they all willing to join the foreign offset project. And but there are still some uncertainty after 2020, so they hesitate to invest a large money actually. So it is still small scale, I guess. Yeah.
You mentioned some projects in LDCs and low-income countries. Is there any type of project profile that you see as more interesting at the moment than less? I mean, in the past, some of these more charismatic carbon credits, so to speak. I mean, I use that term very colloquially and loosely, but projects that have high development benefits, that deliver economic growth, that there's positive lists for additionality, there's less questions on environmental integrity. Are those types of projects the ones that you're seeing more interest in, or are there other types?
I think as we are focusing on some distribution products project at the moment, and we prefer to any project related to cooktop distribution and LED lighting and something like that. And if we bring some other good sustainable development stuff, it would be better. Yeah, our buyer really prefer that kind of project.
Are they interested in those types of projects that may come with a price premium, or are they interested in buying for compliance at as low of a price as possible?
The latter one, actually. Yeah, that's the point.
And so that's the challenge, right? Is that you have these other projects that might deliver development co-benefits alongside the mitigation result, but that might be priced a little bit higher, and so it factors into the economics of it, right? So how do you as a company plan to take advantage of this in the next 3 years? Is it just go out and try to do some deals and feel things out, or do you have a more proactive approach to try to take advantage of the uncertainty? And what's your approach and goal and strategy for the next couple of years?
At the moment, we are developing more than 10 projects in progress, and actually there are high demands in Korean carbon market. So we hope to develop as many projects as we can, and to getting large volume of CERs, eligible CERs, to convert to KOCs.
Do we have any questions from the audience? So what do you hope to get out of your time here at Innovate4Climate? I hope it's been a good one, but you've got 1 day left. How are you going to make it count?
Main target I'm here is networking, actually. I hope to meet as many people as I can, and hope to good relationship and partnership with other CDM project developers and potential partners. Yeah, that's the point. Yeah.
That's great. That's exactly what we are aiming to do here at Innovate4Climate, using the convening power of the World Bank and our partners with Spain and Germany to bring people together, to have these discussions, to see how the private sector can come together under these regulatory environments to help mitigate climate change, deliver adaptation. So I think you're at the right place. Do we have any other questions from the audience? Otherwise, Kay, do you have any concluding remarks?
Thank you for your attention, and hope. Yeah, feel free to contact me if you have any questions or inquiry or something, whatever it is. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Kay.